All right, so here we go, guys. We are back at it with another one, okay? So check it out. I ordered a, I think it's called the Cinco mic system. So different lapel mic system. A little bit more professional, a little bit more expensive. The one that I did have, that little click-in lapel mic, only works with cell phone or some camera systems. It just doesn't work with the GoPro. I had to buy a special mic adapter for the GoPro, so I'm hoping that works because that was like 50 bucks, right? Just to get better audio. I know that the mic, depending on how I'm holding it, like right now I'm in like vlog mode basically, so the mic will be okay. If I'm not in vlog mode, the mic probably won't be so good because I set you down and I put you someplace else, and then I'm further away from it so it doesn't pick it up quite well, right? Yeah, anyways, check this out. I did a thing. I put that back wall in there. So that back wall is actually set up now to where, we'll get in here, the sound's gonna change. But yeah, so the back wall's in there. I got a seam caulk, the seam's in the middle. There's a hole down there that I got to patch. You'll see it better from the other side. Crawling into that back side was a motherfucker. And you'll see why I say that in a little bit. So I got to caulk all this today, go around all the 2x4s, go around the bottoms, go around the top, go around the inside, and I got some new stuff for that. This is going to be awesome, right? So found this stuff by Liquid Nails, right? So everybody wants to run LoonyMaxx, right? So this has the same locking power as LoonyMaxx, but like cheaper. So this was $8.78, and LoonyMaxx is like 13 bucks, I think, for a tube. So yeah, this is like the same thing as LoonyMaxx. It's just made by Liquid Nails. I've never seen it before, so this must be pretty new. And it's the same gray color as the LoonyMaxx, and it's called Fuse It All Surface, and it has the 24-hour to full cure, just like LoonyMaxx does, and you have to use mineral spirits to clean up, just like you do with LoonyMaxx. So I believe that this is basically Liquid Nails' version of LoonyMaxx. So if you guys want to get some of that, you sure can. You can check it out, pick it up. It's cheaper. I'll let you guys know how it works. I already had some Bondo glass left over, but I ran out of the hardener. So I picked up a tube of the hardener cream for it, and we'll try this out with that. That way then I can still use this Bondo glass for filling that crack. But I did pick up a bigger container of Bondo glass because I needed Bondo glass anyways, for the inside of each one of those holes for the subs, because once I get all this stuff done, I have to Bondo glass the inside of those, just to help hold them and make them more sturdy, as well as to help hold some of those nut certs in place, or bolt certs in place. Because when I drilled them out, the measurement for the hole was just big enough for the sub to fit into. So once I marked those out and I drilled out the holes and then put those in there, it kind of broke off a little bit of the stuff, and I'll show you that. But first, we're gonna get to that back wall so I can show you the back wall. All right, turn the little light on in the back. There we go. So you can see that hole, and that's, yeah, that's a little bit of a problem. Measurements were just slightly off a little bit, but I had to do it in 3 sections to get that to fit in there. That's actually connected into the 2x4, so that's just a gap. I'll fill that gap with some of that caulking. Fill the gaps up there, all the way around, and then just kind of make it work out to where it's filled in. And I'll make sure that they're all smoothed out and everything, because there's gonna be another layer too. So I'm gonna go horizontal with it and just get a 4x8 sheet, and then do my measurements and then cut it down. So then I'll just slide in one, and I'll start from the bottom. It's really weird because it goes from 41 down here, like if you were go from the bottom to the top, It's 41 and 3/8 from there to there. Then you go here and it's like 40, straight even 40, like right here. And then to the top. Then you go back that way and it slowly narrows itself to 38. So that back corner from the bottom to the top is 38. So you have to basically make a narrow cut and then just, you know, cut it so it's like slanted basically, and then cut it directly in half so it's still even at the top, and then slide that in at the bottom, and then I'll have a split seam right in the middle somewhere from the top to the bottom. It'll be in the middle. Then the top board has to get a little bit more fancy because of that cut in the corner, but pretty much everything else is pretty much straight, and then it'll be straight across the top, the cut in the corner, and then straight across here, and then they'll match in the middle. Then the only thing I have to do is seam that with some like LoonyMaxx or that liquid nails, fuse it, and then I'll take and put a fiber strip over the top of it, or fiber bondo, one of the two, and then just skim it to where it locks it in and it won't move no more. And then that'll be the seam. But for right now, once I lock this in place, my next thing is to mark out for all those dowels for the support for the center between the subwoofers. So again, we'll go back into the box and we will show you guys that portion of it, because these right here can lose, it can end up twisting as the subs fire, and it can lose dB. So what I'm planning on doing is putting a dowel between here and that backboard, right? And it has to be direct center because of the way that these are offset. You'll see the little screw zerts there. And so it has to be direct center of that. And once I get that in there, then they'll be supported. And this is kind of what I was talking about with the needing the fiber bondo to fill those holes inside of there, because some of those are pretty freaking tore up from screwing those into it. Like there's one too. Like, I mean, those zerts are pretty screwed up. So they're in there properly and in the place properly, because I did fit a sub in there after we put them in. So every time we would mark them, drill them, put the zerts in there, we would literally take a sub and we'd put it up there and set it in place and then kind of test fit them. And they all lined up just fine. So the only problem is when I get all of the 15s, I'm gonna have to widen out the holes on the 15 basket, because those are 1/4-20 nut zerts. So I need to be able to get a 1/4-20 bolt into the sub basket. They're just meant for regular screws, like construction screws or something like that, not for a 1/4-20 bolt. So I need to get like a 3.5 or 4 inch long 1/4-20 bolt so I can go through there. Probably 3 inch 1/4-20, and just screw it all the way through and tighten it down. That way it has plenty of back off power. I mean, my loading wall is only 1.5 inches, so I really could just get away with like a 2.5 inch 1/4-20 bolt. But I figured with maybe like a 3 inch, I'd have some extra threads on there. So if it started backing out, it takes longer for the bolt to back out. 2 inch wouldn't take long for that to back out if it vibrated and started backing off. I could put some Loctite in there, I guess. Just use the blue Loctite, not the red Loctite. Blue Loctite will Loctite it and hold it in place pretty good. Shouldn't break free, but I should be able to break it free with an impact. With the red Loctite, that would take a bit to get those off, and it probably wouldn't work very well. So I probably just use the blue if I put it on there. That way then I can separate it a little easier, and not have to worry about it being stuck, like permanently stuck. But yeah, and then I also welded up my cousin's sawhorse that he drilled through. He thought they were aluminum and wouldn't be able to weld them. I put a magnet to them, they're metal. So I did weld those up yesterday. So yeah, that's them. My welds look like boogers, and it does not look good at all, but it functions. So instead of going out and buying new sawhorses, and I did spray some silver on there. I got a lot of overspray like right here and here and wherever. I didn't care. I just sprayed some silver on there to cover up the welds after I kind of ground down this top weld to make it more flat. And I just wanted to make it functional so I could use it yesterday. It works, it holds, it does its thing, so happy with that. We're getting somewhere, slowly getting somewhere. I lost interest in this thing a while ago, and like I said, maybe I might sell it, maybe I don't sell it, I don't know. I figured if I fix some of the stuff up on it and get it to where I want to be with it, maybe I might just get passion back for it and keep it. If not, and you guys want to shoot me an offer for it, you can go ahead and hit me up in my email for it, LoonyMaxx at Gmail, and just go ahead, throw me an offer. I'll listen to it, you know, possibly, you know, go for it maybe, but I'm not going to let it go for cheap, because I do have the, you know, not too extremely cheap, because I do have all the finish work done with the sound system as far as like the mids and highs go. I mean, this thing is like spot on, like super crazy for being loud. If you've never heard it before, you got to hear it in person. It's extremely loud. I've had some people that actually do like really loud stereo stuff in their cars. As far as like pro audio mids and highs, you know, with like the 6.5s and like 4.8s and the super tweeters and all that stuff. And their comment right off the bat was it's impressive for what it is, because they've spent, you know, thousands of dollars on their door panels to put a bunch of like, you know, 6.5s and, you know, 7 tweeters or 8 tweeters, super tweeters in their panels, and getting rid of like the stock setup and making in a full custom panel into their stuff. And this sounds just as loud as their, you know, custom panel that they literally made, and not even using the stock setup. Mine's still stock setup basically, and it's just as loud. So very proud of that one. And the amps aren't even up that loud. I think the amps aren't even, they're maybe, I'm not even halfway up. If I'm not mistaken, I think they're not even halfway up. Put the light on there. And that's the level for the gain level, and yeah, that's not halfway up. That's pretty close to half, but that's not half. So yep, that is definitely loud, I'll tell you that. I don't know if the speakers could take much more. I think that they would start, I don't think they'd lock up or distort or like, yeah, I don't think they'd lock up or distort. I think they would just, you'd smell them, and then they would probably just let off a puff of smoke and be done. But I don't think I want to blow my 10-inch mids, or, you know, 6.5s. Those are Audio Legions, so I don't want to blow them either, because they don't make them anymore. And then the 5.25s are DS18s that are in the dash. I don't care about them because I can get more. It's these. They're Audio Legion 10s. They don't make them no more. If they do make them, I think the price went up, because I think I paid, I want to say like $89 per one, and I think they're like 120 or 130 per one. Last time I looked, and then that was like 3 months ago. I know for a fact they don't make the 6.5-inch Audio Legions anymore, especially in the mid bass. They did have a mid range for a little while, but I don't think that they make those anymore. I think literally Audio Legion is just dissolved, because the guy that was making them, he got mad at the Chinese company he was going through, because they were selling his sub designs and his speaker designs to other companies, and so he just wanted out, and he sold the company to Scar, and then Scar dissolved the company, because They were a cheaper brand option for Scar to carry, but people were buying it more than they were buying the Scars themselves, so they were kind of upset on the situation, and instead of just having a cheaper brand option to run with, you know, being sold through Scar Audio, they decided to just dissolve the company and completely, instead of just coming out with new lines through the Audio Legion and keeping them as a cheaper line option, which I thought was kind of stupid. But who am I? You know, I don't own Scar, and if I did, it probably wouldn't be ran the way that it is being ran. Anyways, those amps work out really well, and they do really good. So I'm gonna have to get you guys up on the stand and put you guys up on time lapse so I can get to actually doing some of the stuff that I need to do. I got to get my backer plate so I can back that hole from the inside. Yes, from the inside. Don't back it from the outside, because otherwise, once you put your Bondo over the top of it and sand it down, it won't be completely flat, and your board won't go flat for the next board. So you do it on the inside of the box. Nobody's going to see it. You can sand it completely flat if you want to and get it more flat inside the box if you try hard enough. But if you don't have to worry about another board matching up to it and not going flat because it's inside the box. This is basically what the box is going to look like, but then obviously with the fiber bondo and the seam sealer stuff all the way around it, and then painted, more than likely hand painted. I probably won't actually spray paint anything inside there, because it would just create overspray and get all over the inside of the port and everything like that, which I don't really want to have to repaint that port. That thing's got enough layers of paint on it. I don't want to have to add more layers of paint to it. I don't know where this is going to peak at. Honestly don't. I have no clue. I know my port peaks at 52.4 because it's 33 cubes wide. My loading wall now is 13 cubes, and so that's like 1.7, about 1.7 per sub. I don't know what the cabin spec is, never measured it, but I think with bandwidth, you know, my peak could be 77 hertz. So if I play my cards right and I just build this as a Burt machine instead of a demo monster, maybe I could get into this 170s, but I don't know if the subs will hold up. They do have a higher FS. Their FS is a 42, so then they have a thinner surround to them. They're not very stiff, but they have a thinner surround to them. And the way that they're set up for like a higher pitch music. I mean, the Chinese subs that I do have, those have a really fat surround on them, and they have more of a progressive rolled spider and not linear. So they're more of like an SPL sub, but I wore them in basically as an SPL sub, but now I retuned the amp to accept a higher tune rate, and they're doing awesome. And my car peaks at 52, and those subs play 52 hertz with authority. Anywhere from 47 to 52, it shakes your eyeballs and it feels like you're getting kicked in your throat. So it's pretty good. The box itself is tuned to 41, I believe, and that's just a prefab box off of eBay. So with that tuning itself, it has such a wide bandwidth, but now I'm somewhere between 33 hertz and 52 hertz. So that's a pretty big bandwidth. And if I can get this box set up the way that I want to have a higher bandwidth as well. And I think that's going to do it with that wider, 52 hertz port. And then that will give me the bandwidth to go up. And if I can get somewhere in like the 73, 77 range for the hertz, if I turn this into a Burt monster, I literally just watched somebody hit 77 hertz and roll out a 183. So maybe I can do it. Maybe I can be in the bigger classes and stuff like that, and just keep it as a burnt monster. I don't really know. I do have the cable capability to pull my base knob outside the vehicle without having to have the door open, but I don't know where it peaks at. It's all standard glass in here, so I don't know what's going to explode and what's not going to explode. I do have the capability of turning off my mids and highs, so if I do just go into an SPL drag, I can shut my mids and highs amps off completely. So I don't have to worry about blowing the speakers or anything like that. I just only have the sub amp on, just tell them that I'm ready to go, and then I just, you know, rip the knob off, right? Roll into it however you want to do it. More than likely I'll slow roll into it, and then that way then the amp can accept power gain instead of just ripping the knob off and then it can't hold the power gain and it just goes into protector, shuts off, which some of them will do that, just depending on. So I would rather just slow roll into it, be able to pull the sound that I want out of it and the hertz and power out of it. Still probably going to go with that 16K. I did find that Alibaba 16K amp in the Brazilian one. I found it in America by a seller in America. He has it listed for like 600 bucks, but he recently dropped the price down to 550. Wish I would have been smart enough and, you know, saved up some money and got that. But I can always, you know, write the seller and ask him if he'd be willing to sell it for, you know, that same price range again later on at a different date, probably in 2 weeks. But yeah, we'll see. I got to get to it. I got to sand all that off too. Not all of it, but sand it down, because that was caulking that's in there. And then I put wood filler over the top of it. So I need to sand that flat and get that as flat as I can possibly get it, all the way from the top down. And then I need to fill or like mix up some fiber bondo and spread that fiber bondo across there as well. And then I'll sand the fiber bondo down. That way then that seam is hard like a rock and it can't crack or vibrate out. I'll go all the way down to the edge down there at the bottom of the floor. And then once that's done as well, I cannot paint that until I'm done attaching the fiberglass over from the floor and over to here and up around that whole B pillar and the box itself on that side. And then this side here, I have to fiberglass as well, coming out from where I LoonyMaxxed it to the wall, and then, or to the B pillar, and then also to the box. And I don't know if I'm gonna wrap around or if I'm just gonna go out so far and then trim that off. And then once it hardens to it, then I can just keep coating it, get it thick, and then sand it all down and use a grinder with the cutting blade on it and just trim that glass. We'll see. This one here, I have double stacked out. I didn't want to cut this down because that's actually that's screwed into that the 2x4s that are over here. So I'm just going to glass out over here too and make like a transition that rolls this. So hopefully that works out pretty good. And then when I'm done with it, you probably won't even really notice it because all this is probably going to get painted black anyways. So we'll see. We'll see how it works. I also have to fiberglass from here. So I have to caulk all that in and this in, and then I have to fiberglass from here to here and basically up. So I'll have to start on top and just kind of tuck that in as I wet the glass down. So we'll see how that works out. And this right here is a hole. I think that goes all the way through. So I have to figure out how to get that to be covered up. I'll probably just put a little bit of spray foam in there and hopefully that works and holds it. We'll see. It may or may not work. I don't know. Like I said, I just try shit out. If it works, it works. If it don't, tear it out, redo it. Or not tear it out, but you know, tear out the area that you fucked up. And if you messed something up pretty bad, you can either sand it and fix it, or it's just wood. Cut it out and replace it, you know? I don't say I'm a professional with anything, but most of the stuff that I do when I build boxes and stuff like this, it just ends up working out because you try things until you get it. But like this here, obviously it's building something that big for me is new to me. The only thing I've ever built as far as big stuff goes is I had a 4th order inside of a hatchback with 2 15s. I actually had 2 12s in there first with no 4th order, just in a box. That sounded awesome. And then I had 4 12s inside of a Geostorm that I built a flat wall into. That also sounded pretty good just on test tuning, because we just literally plugged the bottom 2 holes inside the box. So just literally took and plugged up the bottom 2 with cardboard. We didn't even use wood, we just used cardboard. Then we put some cheap 12s in the top. I think one of them was a pile and one of them was like a VR12, and we ended up having it hooked up to like a little 500 watt amp, and it actually sounded really good just on test. Never got to fire the box up, started having motor issues with the car, so I basically sold it off as it was, and I think it was a distributor. So I hope whoever got it actually used it and put, you know, the time and money into it, because it was pretty much finished. It just needed spray foam on each side and then like the beauty baffle across the front of it. Then you could have hooked up and ran all the wires and all that shit. So yeah, it was pretty much ready to go. It needed the power wires ran and stuff, but had the CD player in there, had the mids in there and the highs in there, and then the box was built into there, and it had the bolts in there to run the speakers. There's a few other finishing things on the back of the box that probably could have been done, like foam fill between the bracings, and then put like normal wood lats over the top of it just to make the box look smoother and more sleek. But everything else was pretty much done with it. So then this is the other one. My S15 Jimmy had only 2 12s in a homemade box in that thing, and that sounded pretty good. Didn't do anything extreme in that, but this is the most extreme thing that I've probably done. But so I'm just winging it as I go. So we'll get you guys up on time lapse and we'll get to this. All right, everybody. So we got it going. We got some of the liquid nails. Fuse it. I mean, this is my first time trying this out. You actually have to take the top off of the caulking. So you spin that top off, then you have to cut the tube, and then spin the actual, like, I don't know, the filler neck back onto the tube, and then you're able to cut the filler neck and then actually run it. I have my automatic caulk gun. I just laid it out thick. I filled that hole up, filled the crack, filled up there, filled the other crack that I have these wires going in. So there's a set of wires that are going in there. That is from the actual dome light that go through where I had cut the wood and matched it up to that 2x4. So that got filled in as well. So then now all of that is caulked and I'm just letting it dry. It does dry just as quick, or gets tacky just as quick as PL-Max does. And in all honesty, I'd say that the Loctite or liquid nails, Fuse It is literally just like PL-Max. So liquid nails, Fuse It. If you want a cheaper option than PL-Max, it is literally just like that. Same material, same makeup, everything. Going forward, I won't probably buy PL-Max anymore. I'll more than likely just buy Fuse It by Liquid Nails, because it's I mean, it's not way cheaper, but it's cheaper, you know? So I'm saving a few bucks. So $13 versus $8 and some change. So I don't know about you guys, but I'd like to save $1 where I can and still get the same product, or a pretty good product that's comparable to it. Then I would say this is 100% comparable. So anyways, we got that up. Still, I'm pretty sure that the fiberglass Bondo is either tacky right now or already dry. But I do have the fan going still on it. So I got this all set up. I got to go open that other tube up, and then we're going to go through there. We're going to do the inside portion of it, as long as I can reach in there. And then I'm going to just kind of lay that stuff out the same way I did this, where it's just pushed flat, and that way we can still get the other boards up there, and it'll be great. All right, everybody, so we got some more stuff done with the actual wall there. I'll show you guys real quick here. So got the other backside, just this other section done. I kind of went across the top up there a little bit, but I needed to get more tubes of that so I can put it up in the corner and then run it across there a little bit better. It kind of didn't really get in there very well, so I got to be able to do that. And I also have to finish filling that bottom one in all the way to the end here. Got a little bit in there, but I got to go all the way from there, fill this in some more, and then I got to come down that line there and do that. I'm also going to probably have to loosen those bolts up to swing the cables over just a little bit for the next run. I'm going to do 1/2 inch inside there. So this is getting sealed up very nicely. It's working, doing its job. So we'll get that done. That is getting tacky for the first time, for the first part of it. The other part is not, because I obviously just put it in there. I had this fan going in here. I'm gonna hop in the box and I am going to see if that's dry yet for the fiberglass stuff. We will turn the fan off. There we go, off. And then I'm gonna see if I can stick you guys to that. And hopefully you guys have a decent line of sight there. I really don't know, but if it works, it works. Yeah, that works. So I got you put up on the steering wheel. So let's do this.
and just kind of zoom her a little bit there. That'll work. That will work. Okay, so nice view, I know. Anyways, here we are. We're in the box. We're gonna check this out. This is good. There's a little sharp edge right here that I really don't like. There's actually a couple of them. But you know what? I think that'll be fine. Yeah, I think that's going to be really good. That'll be fine. I think once I get there's a couple little stragglers of some fiberglass hairs in there. Yeah. Oh yeah, that's gonna sound awesome. Don't know if you can hear that little bumping over the mic. I'm just pounding on the back wall, and it sounds pretty good. This hollow, solid, double layer, single layer. But it sounds boomy. So I think I get that other layer on there of the 1/2 inch, and I'm gonna stagger it. So instead of it being those other ones are vertical, and I had to cut them in sections to be able to like actually put the wood in and slide it in. I think the other ones, when I do it, I'm gonna do them horizontally, start from the bottom one and go back, because that one has to be cut at a weird angle. It has to go from like 41 3/8 to 38, so it has to slope up. Because if you guys look back at the other videos when I first started this build, the floor in the caravan is sloped upwards. So you have more room towards the front of the caravan than you do towards the back of the caravan. Don't know why they did that, but the actual metal floor of the caravan is sloped upwards. So it's like starts lower and slopes up. So instead of it being flat, it's like that. So I had problems when I did the 2x4s as well for the studded walls. So that was a little bit of a bitch to get those in. Building this whole thing has been kind of a, you know, geometrical or weird puzzle. Something like that. It's not really a nightmare. It's just you have to use your brain. You have to do a lot of measurements, and then you have to double measure, because you want to make sure that you get it right the first time and not have to go back through. I know it's just wood and you can always get more and cut it, but that does get expensive, especially when the wood prices were through the roof before. I think if I do build another box, though, I want to build it out of composite, because you can buy composite sheets for pretty much just as much as you can buy it for buying a normal sheet of plywood. You can get like 3/4 inch composite for like $80. You know, a 4x8 sheet of composite, and just cut that down. So I think if I do another box, like a big box build or another big build, I'm going to build it out of composite and do that, because that'll be a lot easier. Well, it won't be easier, but it'll be a lot nicer, just put it that way. And it's plastic, so you won't have to worry about if you have a leak somewhere and it possibly potentially rotting. Like right now, I drilled through the roof, right? But I welded those together, or welded the screws, and then ground the screw, or cut the screws off and ground them down, and then I tack welded in there again and then ground that down. But say there's a leak there and it follows the screw down, now the roof of the box rots out. See what I'm saying? I did spray some bed liner, just spray can bed liner stuff. It came out really smooth. I don't really like it, but it is on there, so I did do that. When I paint the car, I will paint the roof as well and just paint over the top of that flat bed liner. Just kind of help bring the van into being all one color. I'm painting the whole thing with tractor paint. Started sanding on that some before, Once I start sanding on again, I'll put you guys up on time lapse and have, you know, in different areas you guys can watch me sand away, sand my heart out. I'm so sick of that I only did the hood, one fender, and that's it. And then I didn't do any more after that, so I probably won't. But I'm getting out of this box. It's really boomy in there. So we'll just kick you down a notch on that. Anyways, if I get to sanding, when I get to sanding, we are going to paint this thing with some tractor paint. And I got the black here. This is a straight up low gloss black. It's not a flat black. It's not a semi-gloss. It's just called low gloss. It's like somewhere between a flat and a semi-gloss. And so it'll still have some shine to it, but it won't have a lot to it. So we're gonna use this, and we're just gonna brush the shit on. I'm gonna tape stuff off and brush it on. That saves me the hassle of having to actually use a sprayer. I only have a 20-gallon air tank, and it runs out of air quite fast, and then that thing would be running all the time. I thought about getting having a 5-gallon bucket and just fill it with the paint and then thin it down, because I can actually run that through a one of those cheap sprayers, like a pressure washer sprayer that you get off of Amazon. They have a thing, you just drop it in a bucket, you know, and it's got a built-in filter to it, and you just spray, right? So if I was to do that, I could fill it up in the 5-gallon bucket, add my thinner to it, mix it down, and I can punch a hole through the top and then run the hose through there, hook that filter on, pull the hose through, drop it, set the filter or set the lid onto it so where dust and dirt ain't getting into it, and then I could just literally just stand back and just spray it. But then I might get a bunch of runs. I don't know how it sprays out. I watched some guy from, I think, Russia spray a whole car with that. The dude was literally standing like 2 feet away from the car when he was spraying it. And it laid out pretty nicely, believe it or not. So it's worth a shot to try something like that. You know, if you don't give a shit about the car, tape the windows up, do as much minimal taping as possible. You know, stuff that, you know, just tape it as minimal as possible. Stuff that you don't want to actually have sprayed. And then just spray it. Like, just take the shot and just spray it. It's not like it's going to hurt anything. It's a crappy car you don't care about, right? And at least it changes the color of it. This van is gray. It's like just an off ugly gray with gray pinstriping and some chrome on it. But I just don't like that. I'd rather it be one solid color, pitch black. That's what I'm going for. So, thought about doing like a pale gray, but then I was like, maybe. Then I was like pale gray, and then I could take pigment bombs and throw it at it and just clear coat it. That might still be an option. But then I was like, you know what? For cheap, this was like 48 bucks for this. 48 bucks for this gallon of paint. So take this and just paint it on. See how much I can get out of it. I don't have to thin it. I can just put it right onto it, even though that if I do thin it down, I'll get more out of it. But I don't have to thin it down. I can just paint it directly onto the car. I may or may not have to get another gallon, but the good thing about this is I can take just some 50-gallon black garbage bags, and I can just cut them down the middle, and I can lay them out underneath the car and just put like objects down to help kind of hold it in place. So if it does drip, it's not going to be a problem. But I'm hoping that when I lay it down and put it on there, it sticks to the paint that's already on the vehicle, or sticks to the vehicle, I should say, not to the paint, but the paint sticks to the vehicle and it doesn't run. And I'm going to try to do it with the brushes, roller, that type of thing. Because I was actually told that this paint from Rust-Oleum for the farm paint, it's meant to be painted onto tractors and stuff, and it lays down so nice that it doesn't leave brush strokes when you do it, because that's how they're designed to paint it. It's not really meant to be put through a spray gun. It's meant to just be painted on with a brush or a roller onto your tractor. So I guess it doesn't leave streaks behind, brush strokes behind, type of thing. We're gonna find out though, because we'll get to that coming up shortly. Don't know if I'm going to actually finish off the box part with these dowels, because I have these wooden dowels right here, and I actually have to cut these down, so I'll have to measure them off, and I have to cut these down. There's going to be 16 of them, and I should be able to get, I think we measured them right, and I should be able to get 2. I think it's 2 out of each one. I have a stack of them over there, but I think it's like 2 out of each one. And then, or maybe it was 3 out of each one. But either way, these are going to be going into there between the speakers, so it doesn't twist the speakers as the subs are moving, because the subs on the loading wall, if it's moving, it can make it breathe. Well, the port side will have its own bracing where the wall can't move, but then in between the subs, it's really thin because the subs almost touch each other, and so I don't want that to twist right there and end up breaking or having flex, because then you can lose dBs. So I'm going to put this in there, brace these in there. So before I put that other back wall plate on, I have to do these, because I have to mark around where this goes inside the box on that wall, pull it away, drill through it to leave the hole from the other side, and then continue to do that for 16 of them. And then make sure these are marked out, pre-drill through the wall between the subs, because it has to be dead center. And then I'm gonna have to hold this, drill through it, go to the other side, drill through on the back side. Because it should be in place, but I might have to have a second person with me just to hold this while it gets, you know, drilled in. Like either I hold it or they hold it. The other person will basically be, one person will be in the box the whole time. Then they'll just kind of be like, I'm moving up to this one, moving up to that one, whatever. And then you just hold the board there while they drill through. And these will have to be pre-drilled so that they don't split or crack. You know, trying to shove a screw through there. Then after that, as long as they're countersunk down pretty good, we can glue the other boards and put them on. And put it, we'll have to do it in 2 sections to make that seam. So it is getting there. We're working on it. Like I said, I lost kind of interest in this thing a while ago, but now I'm kind of trying to build up the interest again and get myself motivated to get back on it. And I'm going to throw some time and energy at it, but now with working, I don't have as much time. I'm tired at the end of the day. So I only got the weekends to mess around with stuff, and I'm not coming out here tomorrow, so this is all done on a Saturday. See ya.